Warm good morning to all. Today we have to discuss about coronary artery disease. So what does mean by coronary artery disease? It is otherwise called as atherosclerosis. What does mean by that? Athero means fatty mush. Sclerosis means hard. That means hardening of the fatty mushes or fatty tissues. Hardening of this inside the coronary artery. So the disease which is present in the coronary artery. What is coronary artery? Everyone knows that the heart is pumping blood, pure, that means oxygenated blood from the lungs. It will get the oxygenated blood from the lungs and it pumps to all over the body. Right. So one of the artery from the arch of aorta is going towards the heart and it supplies the oxygenated blood to the heart, which is called as coronary artery. Okay, over here in this coronary artery there will be a fatty mushes, that means the fat is getting attached and it will blocks the artery. So it may leads to the disease called as coronary artery disease. Right. So we are going to deal with factors, risk factors. What is risk factors for this coronary artery disease? We are classifying the risk factors into three types. One is non-modifiable risk factors, another one is modifiable risk factors, and the third one is contributing risk factors. Right. So non-modifiable risk factors. What is non-modifiable? Which you cannot able to modify. Okay, which we cannot able to change. That is called as non-modifiable risk factors, like age or gender, maybe a male or female, which we cannot able to change it, and genetical from the hereditary and ethnicity. So these are the four things which we cannot able to change. So these are the non-modifiable risk factors. Next is modifiable risk factors. So there are again four things are there in the modifiable which we can able to modify. That means habits which we can change it, which we can stop it. First one is lipids, that is serum lipids, increase in the serum lipids, and then tobacco usage of smoking or any other porn types, especially smoking, and hypertension, prolonged hypertension, which we can able to control the hypertension by taking proper diet or by the medication. Okay, and then obesity, which we can control by proper exercises. So these are the things which comes under modifiable risk factors. Next is with the contributing risk factors. These are the associated diseases which may leads to the problem called as coronary artery disease. What are they? Diabetes mellitus or psychological state, that is stress, and homocysteine levels in the body may all leads to this coronary artery disease. Now we are going to deal with coronary artery disease. Okay, right. Now we have to go with the pathophysiology, how the disease starts. Already we discussed about the risk factors. The risk factors is of three types. One is contributing factors, non-modifiable risk factors, and modifiable risk factors. Right. With this modifiable we cannot able to change, but we can change the modifiable risk factors. Right. So modifiable risk factors like serum lipids. What is serum lipids? Lipids is a cholesterol. Lipids means it is a cholesterol. Okay, so here we are having three types of lipids in our body, which we are telling it as a LDL, VLDL, and HDL. HDL means high density lipoprotein, low density lipoprotein, which is LDL, and VLDL is very low density high lipoprotein. Why it is a lipoprotein? Because for the digestion usually this lipid will join with the protein which will form lipoprotein. Okay, which whenever this lipid is joining with this protein, we are calling it as a lipoprotein. So which may be having a high density or low density or very low density. That means how much of protein is attaching with the cholesterols, lipids. Okay, according to that we are classifying it LDL, VLDL, and HDL. So whenever there is a high density lipoprotein, which is otherwise called as good cholesterol, so person that cholesterol will be easily digested. If it is a LDL or VLDL, that means low density or very low density, which is called as dangerous. Okay, so here this LDL, if a person is having more low density lipoprotein or very low density hypoprotein, then they may have a risk of the disease called as coronary artery disease. Next is hypertension. So what happens in the hypertension? In a prolonged hypertension, always the blood pressure is elevated Due to the elevated blood pressure, what happens? It slowly damages the endothelial layer which is present inside the arteries. That is, the inner layer of the artery will get damaged. So endothelial damage, which may leads to coronary artery disease, right? Next is tobacco. That means, you know very well, everyone knows that tobacco contains a dangerous chemical which is called as nicotine, which plays a major role for all the diseases. Here also the same, the nicotine, which have plays a major role in two different ways. First one is platelet adhesion. So whenever this nicotine is there, the nicotine makes the platelet to adhere, that means to stick to themselves, so which may leads to platelet adhesion. Due to the platelet adhesion, it may leads to emboli formation of the emboli. Next is, again, whenever the person is taking cigarette, they will feel fresh because of catecholamines will get released. So due to this catecholamine released, what happens? The sympathetic nervous system gets stimulated. Due to the sympathetic nervous system stimulation, the increased heart rate will get increased. At the same time, blood pressure, whenever the heart rate increases, blood pressure increases, which may leads to cardiac workload. That means the workload of the heart gets more. Already the person is having a problem. This nicotine or the cigarette smoking always elevating this. Okay. Then next one is physical inactivity or persons with obesity. So what happens whenever the person is not doing proper exercises, that is physically inactive? So what happens for these persons? The lipoproteins will be increased, especially the low density lipoprotein. So these increased low density lipoprotein may leads to the coronary artery disease. Next, stress, right? So stress, what happens in the stress? Again, whenever there is a stress, brain gets irritated. So whenever the brain gets irritated, what happens? The stimulation, sympathetic nervous system gets stimulated. So when the sympathetic nervous system stimulation, already we have seen, it will increase the heart rate. Okay, heart rate gets increased, at the same time blood pressure gets increased, which may leads to endothelial damage. Again, it may leads to the disease called as atherosclerosis. Then homocysteine. What is homocysteine? Homocysteine is a type of amino acids which digestion will leads to a sulfur containing amino acid. This homocysteine is a sulfur containing amino acid which may leads to one of a factor which contributes to coronary artery disease. So we have seen how the disease is progressing. Now how the disease gets developed, we will see about how the disease gets developed. So these are the three stages where the disease is getting developed. First one is fatty streak, second one is fibrous plaque formation, and complicated lesion. What are these stages that mean development? So we know that each and every artery containing three layers, which we are calling it as the adventitia, the outermost layer, tunica adventitia, innermost layer, middle layer is tunica media, and innermost layer is called as tunica intima. Okay, so what happens due to the risk factors? Slowly there is an injury is happening in the intimal layer, endothelial layer, which may lead to a formation of injury, which may lead to starts to have a tear in the intimal layer. So due to this tear, what happens? The fat molecules, which is a low density lipoprotein or very low density lipoprotein, will starts to accumulate inside this intimal layer. So this is called as fatty streak, which happens in a progressive. It is a slow and progressive disease. For a prolonged time, slowly it starts and it will starts to develop. Second is fibrous plaque. After the fatty streak is developed, what happens? The platelets, which is due to the adhesion of platelets and everything, will starts to adhere with this fatty tissues, and slowly it gets developed. At one stage, what happens? Slowly the arteries will, half of the arteries starts to block because of this nature of sticking of the platelets or RBCs and everything, and also furthermore development of the sticking of the fatty tissues, everything will start and it will starts to block. This is called as complicated lesion. So whenever half of the artery is getting blocked, it may leads to the reduced blood supply, that is oxygenated blood supply to the heart. So heart is getting less oxygen, so the heart cannot able to pump, which may have a leads to a problem called as pain, which may leads to the pain, which we are calling it as angina. So the major clinical manifestation of this condition is angina. Here we are having two types of angina. One is called a stable angina, another one is unstable angina. Because of this complicated lesion, the blood supply is less to the heart. So due to that, what happens? The cells of the heart not getting proper oxygen, which may leads to necrosis, cyanosis, and then it may leads to necrosis. So it will starts to create pain. So this pain may be two types, stable angina, another one is unstable angina. What does mean by stable? Stable means it will be fixed and it will be present in only one area, that is over in the chest region. If the person is paining due to any activities, whenever they are doing activities, some vigorous activities, the pain increases, then we are telling it as a stable angina. Unstable angina, the pain will start from the heart and it will be started to move to the left shoulder, left hand, and to the upper neck and jaws, up to everywhere it starts to spread. Then it is called as unstable angina, which is most complicated condition, which otherwise we are calling it as a myocardial infarction. That means the total cells are mere death. The cells of the heart will get infarcted due to less oxygen, which is called as a worst condition, MI, myocardial infarction. Up to now, we have discussed with how the coronary artery disease is developed. Okay, now we will see what are the diagnostic evaluation. So the first and foremost diagnostic evaluation after your history collection and physical examination of the patient, we need to go ahead with the NTG test. What is NTG test? NTG means nitroglycerin test. Okay, whenever you are putting the nitroglycerin in the sublingual, if the patient have pain in the chest, it will be reduced, because NTG is a vasodilator. By dilating the vessels, what happens? It will reduce the pain. If it is reduce the pain, then we can confirm that the person is having stable angina, so the problem will be reduced. Still, after taking this NTG test also the person is having pain, then we can able to confirm that the person is having unstable angina, which the management differs for the myocardial infarction. Then we need to take with the ECG. You know what is ECG? ECG means electrocardiogram, the functioning capacity of the heart. And then otherwise they will go ahead with the cardiac catheterization by visualizing the coronary artery with the help of catheter and with the help of the medicines. What we can see, whether how many blocks are there, whether how much the level of the blocks, everything we can see with the help of cardiac catheterization. Rather than that, we can go ahead with a CT scan and positron emission tomography, which is PET scan. These are the diagnostic evaluation. After that, management. How we are going to manage with the patients with coronary artery disease. So these are the things. First and foremost is physical activity. We need to make the person to do some exercises, aerobic exercises or walking. The better option is swimming. If they know swimming, the swimming will give more energy expense, which may leads to reduction in the increasing in the HDL, which will increase the high density lipoprotein, which will be good for the health. So physical activity is more important. Next one is nutritional activity. We can inform the patient to reduce the cholesterol containing foods, right? So nutritional activity is more important. And then drugs. For the drugs, we are having three major group of drugs, which is first one is cholesterol lowering drugs, which we are providing to decrease the cholesterol level. Okay, these are the drugs. For the first one is called as HMG-CoA reductor or statin drugs, like your lovastatin, atorvastatin. These are the drugs which may helps in reducing the HMG-CoA reductase. So HMG-CoA is one of a major enzyme which will promote the cholesterol production of the cholesterol. So by reducing this HMG-CoA reductase, so what we will do, the cholesterol production will be stopped with the help of the statin drugs. Next one is fibric acid derivatives, and the third one is bile acid sequestrants. Okay, the bile acid sequestrant. These are the drugs with helps the cholesterol lowering drugs, which will help the cholesterol to reduce. Next is antiplatelet therapy, which will makes not to adhere the platelets. So it will avoid the adhesion of platelets. So due to that, it will reduce the sticking nature of the or formation of the fibrous plaque. It will reduce it. Next one is naturally lipid lowering drugs agents like garlic. You know garlic and niacin or omega fatty acids. Whenever the person is taking more level of garlic in a prolonged time, then it will naturally lower the lipids. Otherwise, surgery. We need to provide the patient with the surgery, which we are calling it as a coronary artery bypass grafting. That means they will provide a graft to overcome the wherever the person is having the block. It will helps to form it a separate way. So coronary artery bypass grafting is the surgery. Up to now we have discussed about the full coronary artery disease. I think you don't have any doubts. Thank you.